not restored. December journal entry for December 30th, 2025. It's my winning season sucks. My winning season still sucks. Okay, let's see what happened today. So this is a little book I won at the bingo. Last week's recovery meeting, they had bingo where we won prizes, and I didn't like win a lot or anything, but there was a lot of rounds and a lot of people playing, and I won some notepads, and I kept one and gave the others away. So this is what I won. So I was using this today, since it was another Tuesday where they have the recovery meeting. So I used this instead of my normal little notepad to write down stuff that happened. So God had me go to addiction recovery meetings. And they've got whole big schedules of activities they do. They do fun things. They have food that's free. So there are a lot of activities and things for recovering addicts to do, which is good news. What is this doing in here? Okay, hold on. So I woke up, I did not have enough sleep. I already was only going to get like 6 hours of sleep, but then I woke up earlier before that alarm went off. And it's my own fault that I stayed up later. But then I woke up before the alarm, and my stomach was upset again. It might have something to do with me being sick. Or it could be that right before I went to bed, I ate a bag of really spicy barbecue chips from the soup kitchen. It was really hot. So maybe they put a little too much hot sauce in them. I did not have enough sleep, and it did affect my day. When I went to the recovery meeting, Sarah, I was kind of yawning a lot, and then my eyes would tear up occasionally, and because I was tired. And, you know, I wasn't, like, super groggy or anything. I just wasn't, like, 100%. And, oh, on the way to the meeting, I had to walk here, and then the man who volunteers at the soup kitchen, he offered to drive me. So I did walk to this, and I made it just on perfect timing. On the way, I saw the man who asked for money outside of the post office. He asked for money for veteran. Well, for himself. I don't think he even says for veterans anymore because he's not allowed. But anyways, more than 10 years ago, he got in trouble and got a huge fine. But he seems like a good man, and he's just out there again, just sitting in the chair, and it was like 20 degrees or less than 20 degrees today, and he's just sitting outside. And so on my way, I passed by him, and I went over there, and I said hello, and I said his name. And then he was reading the Quran, and he said like praise God or something, or God is good or something. He said something like normal that you would hear people say, just like hear religious people say. It was something that like religious people commonly say, and so that was good. He was happy. I said hello. He was in a good mood. He was reading the Quran. I saw it. Amazing. And then he was like, God is good. When I got to the meeting, then I was like right on time, but the doors were still locked, and then I looked, there's some cars in the parking lot. And then apparently the door on the other side is open, and so we were sitting out there. There was like a car full of people, and then there was another woman that came separately, and they were just all carpooling, and they were in the car because of the heat, I think. And then the other woman came out to talk to him, and I was there, and I was like, hello, saying hello to them. And they offered for me to get in the car right away, and I was fine. I didn't need to do that, because I just walked. I just walked like a half hour, so I was kind of used to the temperature at that point. Plus, I got to wear a coat I got on Temu that's long, so it's warmer. I got to wear a warmer coat that I normally can't wear when I ride a bike, so that was good. So I just talked to this woman a little bit. She was pretty nice. We talked a bit and then got in the car, and then it was time to go. And they just said they want us to park in the other parking lot, not back here. And then those other doors were open, so we go in. It turns out that they've got a box of cheese pizza this time. That's good. Maybe they overheard me talking about pork. Maybe they had monitoring spirits, because I didn't bring up pork this time. I didn't even bring it up. But somebody got pizza, and they got a cheese pizza too, which is good. Maybe they overheard I don't eat pork. I don't know. Maybe it's just a fluke. But there was cheese pizza, and I got 3 pieces, and I was, is this okay? And then they looked at it, and they said I could have 3. I ate all 3. And I also bought a box of chocolate. So when I went to the church, they gave me a Christmas basket, and it had all types of candies and things. And there was a big box of chocolate truffles. And so, you know, I was chocolated out, honestly, but I brought this box. I just ate like 1 or 2, and it was a big box, like an expensive box. And I brought it there, and then people there seemed to really like it, and that's good. Because I don't want to just be taking and not giving, even though I don't really have money right now. So that was good. Let's see. And they were playing bingo this time, which I didn't expect. So, of course, like, it was better, but there was, like, still passive-aggressive demons, like, trying to get me, but it wasn't as bad as before. So, I'm trying to think, like, what happened, because these are recovering addicts, so they still have spirits, and they might not even be aware of what is going on, or know why they say something, or feel a certain way, or it's just something small, minor, and passing, but the spirits will work through these people, and I really don't even know if they're aware, honestly. I mean, it seems like they would be, but who knows. Like, they have, they seem like they're having fun, like, but at the same time, they have, trauma. And like was mentioned today, like the woman, I sat in her car for like a minute or so, and she had a 3-wheeled bike, because sometimes she just passes out, and then like somebody had Tourette's, and then there's a couple women, they were swaying like this, which I think is soothing. And so they have spirits, and it looks like they're way better than when they were addicts. But they're not 100% healed. And so I don't know why God has me here. I don't think it's appropriate to just lay hands and heal people yet. It's like, I don't think that's it. If God wants me to heal these people, which any believer can do, it's just that most don't try. I think most don't do it. But I don't know that now is the time yet. Because, you know, I said, God, you got to make this clear. I'm not going to do it. But if somebody is not ready, then those spirits will come right back again. They'll be right back. So, it's not something that you just do lightly unless you're being attacked or something. And the way they attack me is not enough to rebuke. It's just like annoying things that are disrespectful or rude. But, Sarah? Shh. Shh. And this reminds me, the other day, I think the one woman who said her boyfriend who was a narcissist cheated on her, said the woman with multiple personalities that talks and stuff cheated on her, cheated with her boyfriend. And like, this makes multiple personalities or demonic spirits possessing. She goes to a hospital and they drop her off to eat. So I think they're not giving her the treatment she needs, because she needs an exorcism. And she actually has hearing aids in a lot of the time, so the spirits are probably talking to her. She used to do drugs all the time. Said she'd be an addict till the day she died. And then she's talking and saying weird things, and she's got spirits possessing her. This could be solved. This could be fixed. I think I would like to do this for God, but, you know, the timing has to be right. I can't be wishy-washy, like, I don't know, am I supposed to do this? Am I not supposed to do this? And then I don't have the confidence. So, Lord, if you want me to do it, tell me. Because this woman has spirits. Other people, too, they do. All of these people that were addicts have spirits. And those spirits come and they try to ruin my life and get me. But there are people there that need to be saved. Maybe that's why these spirits try to get me, because the people that they're possessing can be saved. I don't. But if they don't want to get rid of their demons, it'll make things worse. So one way the demons got me. This is so minor. It's like they normally do worse things. But just like there was a woman sitting across, and she's like, "We have a new person today," and she had sunglasses on, and she was looking. So there was a man sitting right next to me, and then there was me. And this is like I've been here like twice before, so I didn't know if she was talking about me or not, or that guy. But her face was pointed kind of like right at me, and then I thought I didn't know, and then I couldn't see who she was looking at, so I kind of raised my hand like, "You mean me?" And then she was talking to him, who was right next to me. So this is what it means. Like, just to humiliate me a little bit. And so then I just ignored it and I didn't care. It's like, this is what they do. Like, got the sunglasses on, can't tell who you're looking at. We have a new person. Well, I was pretty much new, because some of these people have been going there a long time. But they actually met this person sitting right next to me. Just to make it, and it wasn't clear. Like, if she had her glasses off, then I could have seen she wasn't looking at me. She was facing me, though, when she said this. And I'm like, "You mean me? I don't know." So it's just what they do. And then also when they had the bingo game cards, like passing about, then there was probably 15 people there. I didn't count. And then the woman, I think who was the witch, who I don't think she really tried to get me today. I mean, maybe not. I didn't see anything bad today, honestly. She probably did some way, but was being careful because of what happened to the other woman. She was probably being careful because of what happened to someone else. Who actually after the first meeting, something bad happened too. So I think maybe she's not trying to do too much to me, because it might be related. She's realizing this. She realized that quickly after the woman hit her car. But anyways, let's see. But she was passing out the bingo cards, and twice she mentioned, "Oh, lucky," because she would say like, so there's a letter at the top and the numbers, and she would say like, "Oh, 66, oh, lucky 66." Kind of making fun of it being a 6 and a 6. So the cards have different numbers on them. And so one person before me had a 66, and then she comes around to me, and I get a lucky number 66 too. Now, this sounds weird, but they actually will count these things out and make sure that you get the card. And then they also have like the little cage where they wind it up and get the things out. So my card didn't seem to be lucky. Like, I wasn't really winning. And so they might have not had... So some of the numbers might not have been in that cage, or actually, I think they probably did have all the numbers in the cage, but they had like 2 or 3. They had more than one of the same number in there. So then the chances of me being able to win something was less. I don't know this for sure, but it kind of seemed like it, because I got this lucky 66, and I didn't really win anything until the last round, and then I did win one. And I don't, that's fine. It's okay. But it just seemed like it was pretty unlucky. And also, when the game pieces were going around, they were passing them around in a bag, and people got them. And then I was the second to last. So, by the time I got the bag, there wasn't enough in the bag really even for me. And then there was the new man next to me. So I took half of it, and I gave him the rest. And then other people gave him coins and stuff to use too. So it turned out that I just didn't have enough pieces, and no one cared, and everyone else had more pieces. This is what I'm saying, the passive aggressive way, to where they will check on other people to make sure they're okay, but no one cares if I have enough pieces. I'm not going to go and cry. It's the demon spirits inside of these people that's doing this. I don't even know if they are aware. But, the game cards go around. Oh, I get a 66. Someone else gets a 66. So, maybe there was even 20 people there. Maybe there was 15. I don't know. But still, the odds of getting the 66 card was not that high, and I happened to get one of them. And then it seemed like I was hearing doubles. I was hearing the same number being called 2 or 3 times. Actually, And I did hear this, and that's because I already laid a tile down, or something. I don't. I'm trying to think of, like, I heard the same number, and because they say the letter then the number, I heard the same thing being called 2 or 3 times, and then some like were called once or rarely, so or weren't called. So I think that possibly, I don't know, possibly like the cage was rigged a little bit, like there was doubles of certain numbers and things in there, and others just had one. I'm just guessing. It just kind of seemed like it. But I did win one, and then in the bottom were little ones that were real small, wrapped up, and so the ones that look like gift cards, those got taken, and people had $10 McDonald's cards and stuff. So like, I want one of those. I wanted one of those, but actually I got something better. I got a $5 bill, because although I like the McDonald's, I'm eating at the soup kitchen now, so the $5 bill is actually more useful to me, because then if I need to buy anything else, I can get free food. I do like the McDonald's, though. I would have liked that. But the thing is, I already get free food right now, and maybe I'll fast. Maybe I might have to fast or something a day or something. But I really don't need the McDonald's card. But the $5 bill I can use for anything that I might happen to need. So that was probably better. And then they had like a special one. It was supposed to be of a higher value. And then I guess they got it mixed up, because the woman who ended up winning this, then she went to open it up. It looked like a gift card, and it was only $5. So it was kind of funny, because there was even a $10 bill in the regular thing. But once people started getting those gift cards, then everybody was like going underneath the other gifts, and then they were getting the cards. And if you already have plenty of money, then you wouldn't want this. You might want the other things. Like somebody got like a Pez. So, it was kind of fun. And they didn't even really talk about anything, honestly, this week. They didn't really, I don't think they discussed addictions or healing or a Bible study or anything. We just did bingo again. And that's fine. And they had cheese pizza. There was a lot of cheese pizza, so that's good. Let's see here. So, the one woman who came in a little later, she's the one that looks like Megan Fox, and she saw the new guy, and she's like, she mentioned this house, and she's like, oh, you're staying there. And then, yeah, they were staying at the same place, probably for recovery or something, and, just said hello. And anyways, this meeting was fine. It was good to be able to eat the food, and they had a bottle of water, a drink of water. I brought something, so I wasn't just taking, and then, afterwards, the man from the soup kitchen, like, I went with them, and him and the other woman. Now, I don't know, I don't want to say anything wrong, because I think this is a woman. But, I mean, it's a possibility that it's also a trans woman. I don't know. I don't know. Because, she has an accent, and I'm a little, like, my ears are a little clogged, so it's hard to hear. So I just can't tell. I really can't. I think it's a woman, but, who knows? I mean, I'm not going to judge anybody. I'm not going to treat, I'm not going to treat anybody bad because they have some identity. Just because that's not my belief, that's fine. It's not hurting anybody. Because here's the thing. There's no compulsion in religion. You can say something, but you can't. Here's what judging it. Okay, so you can say something, and that can be your opinion, but you can't treat people differently. You can't disrespect people. You can't do any of that. That is the judging. The judging isn't saying, once you say something. Judging is you treat people differently. And, like you give something to someone and not to someone else because you don't like them. So judging is the action you take then. Anyways, I thought she was nice. And I mentioned that mainly because I thought this was a woman, but her voice was a little lower. And then when I went to the bathroom to wash my hands after I ate, then she went into the family restroom. So I thought maybe that was a sign or something. Like maybe she did that right next to me because I don't know what are they going to think. Because, as I've said before, it doesn't really matter if you're gay or not, because God has a person for you. And God's going to send the person of the opposite gender, and then you're going to want to be with them. So it doesn't even matter if you're gay. And so this is something I did not know. I did not know that until recently. Um, but if somebody's gay, or I'm not going to treat them bad. I always liked gay people, but it turned out that most of them were trying to get me. But it's not really because they were gay though. It's like everybody from my past was trying to get me. I guess almost everybody from my past was trying to get me, and so there was a lot of witches and warlocks. I thought they were my friends, and they all happened to be swingers and liked to rave and stuff, and I guess they were Satanists. Yeah, and they were all they were all like the friends of the narcissist, of the devil, and yeah, they were trying to get me. And then the people I hung out with, which were gay, I thought, in high school, I thought we were buddies. No, they tried to set me up. They set me up with the devil. They had him waiting. I moved like an hour and a half away, and then the devil was waiting, and they told him where I was going to be. Like, they had him waiting ready to go through my line as soon as I got hired. Like when I went to get a job right after high school, then his best friend was there getting a job too. Like, and then he knew the people from my small town in Ohio. Like, this is a huge setup. So what I'm saying is that these people were gay, and I thought we were best friends, but they were actually, involved in hooking me up with the devil. Like, this was all planned my whole life. I didn't even know. I'm a kid in school, and then they're plotting and scheming, pretending to be my friends, so that when I move, then they've got the devil waiting before I have a chance to date anyone else. It's nuts. It's crazy. Anyways, so when I was and like, I guess this other woman too, like, it was like less than 20 degrees, and she's wearing a hoodie and stuff. I'm like, aren't you cold? It's like, no, she's going through menopause. I'm like, oh, how old are you? You don't look that old. She's 49 going through menopause. I was like, I thought like, that's awful young. I thought you had to be older. I don't even know. And the other woman was like 55. And they don't look that old to me. I said, like, some people that are young look old, and some people that are old look young. And then, of course, I look younger than my age. Like, I'm old, I guess. But it doesn't matter, because we're going to get age reversal, life extension, and healing technologies released. But, actually, we had some, like, discussion and stuff, and it was kind of fun. So I don't know what, like, the whole car was weird, was, like, I don't want to say weird, but, okay, the whole car was weird, like, not normal, I guess. I don't even know. And, of course, we have addiction and spirits. So, at first, there was 3 of us, or wait, 1, 2, 3, 4 of us in the car, and then we went to pick someone else. Then there was 5, and we were all squished together. So it was kind of funny. And I'm not going to say anything. Like, they tried to trigger me later, and I just ignored it. I think, like, maybe the people didn't, but the spirits in them will try to provoke. And I just ignored it. Whatever. That's your choice, But, like, I don't like or dislike people because they're gay or straight. I really don't. It just happens to be that there's certain spirits, and they come after me. And really, I can't even trust anyone. I can't trust anyone to actually be nice. Like, everyone that pretends to be nice is just another enemy. So, and I think, oh, here's some enemies, but maybe these people are actually not enemies, but they just have some demons, and once those demons are gone, then you never know. I don't know. But, then we were talking a bit, oh shoot, what was I saying? So, the one woman, I don't know if she's a woman, like, she's got some accent, like, I don't know what kind of accent it is. I don't understand. And I'm not sure if she's female or trans, or she looks like she's a woman, but the voice is different. But that could be because the accent. I don't know. And the other woman, and she didn't say anything right away, but then when we got to the second meeting, then she's talking about how she's a psychopath. Like, yep, I can see. That's from Demons. And then, okay, so she's not, the other ones are, the man who volunteers at the soup kitchen, um, he is gay, but now he's trying to find his first girlfriend, and he wants to marry his first girlfriend. It's so he was gay. Now he's gonna turn straight and marry somebody. I don't know if they mentioned this because I'm there, and I'm seriously saying that because every single every single day, well, I not every day, but almost every day, someone hits on me. And then they tried a woman at this church before. Now they might try. He was gay, and so his first woman. It's like I'm not available. It doesn't matter. There's like several people that weren't bad, and if I was available, I might have ruined my life and gone on a date or something. But actually, I'm not allowed. So, but maybe that's it. So this man was gay, but now he wants to get married to a woman. I guess I'm not even really paying attention. Like my ears kind of clogged, so I can't hear it that well. I thought it was funny. It's kind of because, and then it's not just this. So then there's the woman that was sitting next to me, and she said she was married to the devil, but she really wasn't. It was just like a guy with a bunch of demons, like who was an addict, because she said he got better as he got older, and he was able to cure. So that's not the devil. But anyways, not good. Now, apparently, he said, I asked her, he didn't treat her too bad. But he was with someone else, and she was the second. She was a side piece. That's not okay. That's not okay. Okay, wait, that's what it was. So the woman right next to me, and we were getting along, and we were talking about she's got a demon named George, and she's got demons in her house, so I can help you get rid of it, if you want. But she's going to move soon. She was with who she said was the devil, but it wasn't really the devil because he did have the ability to care. The devil doesn't have the ability to. But anyways, he died, and then he was actually I think married to somebody else, and he was cheating on her with her, and then she's single. Okay, and then there was another woman which I thought was a woman, but I don't know. And then there's another the woman that got in the car later. She has 2 boyfriends. Now I'm saying this is the worst one. This is the worst one. The woman got in the car, and then the other woman was telling me, and she has 2 boyfriends, and she likes when they get upset or something. Like, what? She likes when they're upset that she's got 2 boyfriends? Okay, but, I can see good in these people, too. But, and then the man who's driving, which I could see good in him, it's like I could see good, and then the spirits too. It's like it's weird. And I said, so is everybody gay or has 2 boyfriends or something? So that's how it is now. I wasn't being mean. I just mentioned it. But I said I've been single for a couple years now. The other one was like, I've been single too, but she was with who she said was the devil, but she was only his side piece. Because he was married to somebody else. Oh my goodness. But it was actually fun. And then we did the first meeting, which was bingo, and I was like, yay, I got the $5 bill. I'm like, this is what I wanted. So I guess I could take the bus again now. I could take the bus a couple more times with that $5 bill. That was a good prize. Now, somebody else did get a $10 bill. I also heard somebody was just handing out 20s at the soup kitchen, and I didn't get them. Oh, well. And that's when I said nothing's for free. Somebody had, a stack of money, and they're like, someone was passing this money out. I'm like, what? No, I didn't get any. I never get. That's fine. It probably came with strings attached. Anyways. God knows what I need. So, I'm not gonna. They're gonna make sure I don't get any money. That I'm in a bad situation. That's fine. There's spirits involved in this. Yeah, we were talking about spirits in the house, seeing an orb, and the other people, well, actually the man that was driving, seeing certain spirits, and the worst ones, something coming out of the sun, and a spirit of an angel of light or something that was, he said was the worst one, and something like a Slender Man, and they mentioned having a portal over his bed, and so I had a portal in the basement in my old house, so it was I wanted to know more, but they only just said a little because we were in the car and we had to go to a meeting. So, there's probably a lot more that I could find out. A demon named George, I guess. So, But this one woman who said she was a psychopath, was from California, just saying how bad it was there. But at the same time, like, almost everybody in this town has demons too, so maybe she just can't see that. Because I can't, I can't see that, but, let's see. So then, I was getting a ride with the man who volunteers at the soup kitchen. I don't know, maybe he's paid. I don't know if he just volunteers or if he's paid. He might actually be a paid employee there. But, I mentioned the day before what happened to my bike, and he said he could drive me, and he has other meetings, and so it was just packed. From the first meeting until dinner time, it was all packed. He also dropped me off. So I'm sure this is some trick, whatever. They already have my address. They got my address yesterday. They got my address yesterday, so whatever. The devils already had my address before then. Like, maybe that's one reason that a court case was opened and I was sued, is just to get my address. So anyways, then there was another meeting at 3 to 4. Oh no, there was two. There was two. Okay, so we first had the one recovery meeting. We played bingo, and we ate pizza, and then we went and we got a smoothie at this tropical smoothie place. And I said, well, I'm in debt and I'm trying not to spend any money. And so, like, the man who volunteers or works at the soup kitchen, he said, oh, I'll get it. Like how he like one is too big, and so he got it put in 2 cups. And I'm like, oh, thank you. It's like. And the one he said was his favorite was also the one I wanted. It was really good. Actually, I felt a little healthier. It was like a smoothie made with avocado and like pineapples. It was really sweet and really delicious. I liked it. Let's see here. Then after that, you got to see this. Then we went to another meeting, and God sent me to these, and God also had people tell me there is more than one kind of addiction. Most of these people are there for drugs, maybe some alcohol. I have different addiction. Most of these are spirit driven. Mine is actually a curse that was given to me by my mother. So I can't even like cast this out. I have tried. I know how to get rid of it, but I'm not going to say now. I'm not going to say now, maybe later. But anyways, I have an addiction that was given to me by my first enemy, who was my mother. This is something she did to me, and it was a curse. And I cannot break it, but it's like when you kiss the frog and it turns into a prince, like that type of thing. Like something has to happen for this to go away. And for some reason, I agreed to this in the spirit realm. It's a part of my life. So I can't cast this demon out. This is a curse on me from my mother. And I have to do something, or something has to happen for this to stop. So this is not normal addiction. But also, like, I was told to go to this meeting. I have to have an addiction to be able to relate to these people, to talk to these people, and to see what's going on in these recovery programs, which is what God has me doing. Because I actually know what addiction is like and have addiction, even though it's not your normal addiction demons. It's a curse from my mother that something has to happen for this to go away. So I cannot cast it out. Like a lot of them you can cast out. Anyways, but God did this because God needs me to experience this. And so everybody else is like drugs. But God sent me here, and then had people say there's other types of addiction. And so when people ask me, and then I repeat it, yeah. But they don't ask, and it's like the don't ask, don't tell. Unless you want to. Don't ask, don't tell. At some point I probably will. But no one else is. So what I'm noticing that this meeting, okay, so the second meeting, they brought in a game, but we didn't even get to play the game. We didn't even get to play the game because there was this is a car. We got to decorate these and make our own ornaments. So we didn't play the game, and we didn't talk about recovery and our addictions because we got to there was a big thing full of stickers. I'm in kindergarten again. It was kind of fun. There was a big thing of stickers. Hi, Sarah. they just passed it. Of course, I'm like last again. And then someone comes in right as I'm about to get it. As soon as I get it, and then I can take my time going through the stickers. Then someone comes in. Then I have to feel like I'm rushed again. This is the little type of witchcraft thing they're doing now. It's like not even that big of a deal. It just like, it's like, oh, drats, you know. That's what they're doing now. And I don't even know if the people are aware. Like, it's the spirits in them, so they might not even know. Anyways, so the second meeting, everybody got, like, this is thin metal. Everybody got one of these, and then there was a big box full of stickers, and then we got to decorate them. And so there was also a game, but we didn't get to it. Now, I think they were trying to, like, test me or something. And I will say, I think that they were trying to test me. First of all, I'm going to show you guys what I made here. There was a big box of stickers and a glue stick. Okay, so I found some silly eyes. There was only 4 of these in the box. They were in the bottom. I went through every sticker, and I got me 2 silly eyes and some pom-poms. And these ones are actually all glued on. So none of mine are actual stickers. This is a pom-pom. That's like plastic decoration. And then these little balls. I put these on with a glue stick. So, and then I used like the tag on this so that it wasn't messy. So that I could just like put the glue right where the pom-poms went. And the heart and all that. These are, well, I don't like it lighten up. Anyways, all of my pieces I guess are glued on and none of them are really stickers. And then these broke. But I don't even know what these were, because these aren't stickers. They're just, like, ripped off of something else. And so I just made eyebrows out of them. So this is my car. To me, it looks like one of those old toy phones. If you remember those old red toy phones that kids would play with, they're like, more than 50 years old. But see, it has silly eyes. So, yeah, I'm not, like, that proud of this. I got letters, too, so I could have put my name on here. But then I thought the 17 looked better. And this way, if I give it to somebody, it will be more relevant instead of just having my name. I think I might keep this. It might give it to somebody that would like it. But for now, I don't know who that is. So this is what I did in the second recovery meeting. And I put a 17 on there because God shows me lots of 17s. They had these big letters I thought were very fitting. And silly eyes and a pom-pom nose. I wasn't going to do that, you know, but actually it looks better with the nose than without. So I thought this was the right amount of stuff on here. So I'm pretty pleased with this. I don't know if I should just hang it up and keep it. I think it's like a good gift. So, you know, everybody got to make their own thing. While this was going on, there was a woman there, and she's like cussing and stuff, like being nice, but, you know, being kind of aggressive, like just... Like, people are talking, people are having fun, is what I'm saying. But this one woman there, she's talking more aggressive, cussing, and saying kind of inappropriate things. And it's not, like, horrible. You know, it's just, like, kind of joking, and everybody is having a good time. So, it's not making anyone uncomfortable. But it was meant to trigger me, because she was mentioning, like, I can't believe Roe versus Wade got overturned, and like, just bringing up political things, knowing that I would probably disagree with them or agree with them. Then a couple seats, like, right next to me was a man there. And I think, this is what I think. I think he was observing me and seeing how I reacted. Whether the other people knew this or not, this is what I think. So there was a man there, and, you know, maybe he is, like, about my age or something, I don't know. And he just, like, was dressed conservative and was quiet. And he didn't slur like an alcoholic. He just seemed like a regular person that was, like, normal. That was polite, you know, just a normal person. And so I think he was just sitting there, and I don't know. But it seemed like he was there observing, seeing what I would do. And so this woman, I don't mind. It doesn't hurt my feelings. But she was just saying a lot of things that, like, I could have commented on it. I could have said, oh, I could have, like... put my 2 cents in, but, you know, instead, I heard it a little bit, but I kind of ignored it, not even intentionally. I was just making this. So they were talking about politics, and she was saying things I disagreed with, and then I just made this, and I ignored all of it, and I think that was a win, because, And then while she was saying things that were inappropriate, the man who drove me there was like talking about the opposite. Like, oh no, it just, sent it back to the states. So the states can decide. And he wasn't fighting or anything. He was just saying it real nice. So, like, she was saying something that I would disagree with. And then he was like, oh, no, it didn't. Or, like, not mean, but, like, just real, like just talking normally. And no one was upset. So, like, I could have interjected and said something. Because, of course, I think it's good what happened, but I think this was a setup. And what happened is I did not take the bait. So I made this ornament, and I just ignored, like, this wasn't the only thing. Like, she was talking about a lot of things, and just kind of being a little boisterous and cussing, but, like, they were having fun. But I'm saying is she was talking about a lot of things, political things, that were inappropriate, and I just ignored all of it, and I made this. And I think the guy there was just, he was just kind of observing to see if I would mess up. And I didn't, because I just didn't even care. I couldn't, like, really even hear it that well, but I could have commented on everything that she brought up. There was more. That's just the first thing I can remember. She brought up a lot of other stuff, and I had an opinion on all of it, but I just didn't say anything, and I made this, so I think that's a win. Then there was another, after this was over, there was another recovery meeting. Let's see, then there was another recovery meeting at this other place, and apparently they're going to have, like, bowling and stuff coming up in a couple weeks, and they've got, like, art and music things, and apparently every Monday it's a group for anxiety, and I said, what's this? They do yoga, and then they have art on Tuesdays. Oh, there's one day that has music, or it says connection, oh, that's music, or that's art. Okay, connections in music art group, okay. Then they have something for depression, but I don't know what that is. I didn't ask what that is. Self-care and fun times. They make, like, collages and things. They are doing, like, crafts in this one. And so I talked to the people there a little bit, and, they seemed like, and I saw the man from the church, too, there. And he wasn't with his girlfriend. It seemed like last time he wasn't happy she wasn't at the church and he went by himself, so I don't know. And he was probably surprised to see me there. But anyways, at this meeting, they had, like, a little printout, and it had, like, a squiggle, or it had, like, just a line or something weird, and it's like you're supposed to, like, so I think there was, like, 6 boxes, and so then you, like, think of what it could be, and then you finish the picture. So there's just, like, a weird, like, squiggle or a line or something, and then you make it into a picture. So we did that and talked a bit, and then somebody passed out candies. So I noticed is no one talked about their addiction, no one talked about their treatment, no one talked about a recovery. Now, an older man came in later. I think he worked there, and he was running certain things, I don't know, and he was talking about, like, New York Times Square, or like how bad it is, and everybody's just peeing all over the place, and I was there and listening to it, but it was just kind of, like, nice, like, you get to be back in grade school again and making art projects. It was just like that. And they have free lunch and breakfast Monday through Friday. This is great. I did not do drugs, but I very much know all about addiction. I do, and God made sure of it. But anyways, it was a pretty good time. I will say, like, when we went to get the smoothie, we stopped and get the smoothie real quick, and then we left to these meetings. So I think they used the love magic. Now, it wasn't very strong. I think they used the love magic. Okay, I'm going to say, and this is, this is what I remember. This is what I remember. So, I know what love magic is. And it feels like, actual love. It really does. But you know that it's fake. You can see that, like, you can see the signs. Like, oh, you didn't feel like this before. Now you do for a couple minutes. Now it's gone again. So when I went to the church the one time, it was, like, ramped up heavy. They were using a ton of this. It was nuts. This time, it was just a little bit. So, um, you know, when you take something, it gets a curse or something. This man was trying to give me money, too. And I'm like, I can't take that from you. You know, you're going to the soup kitchen. Can't take your money. Good boy. Good boy. Let me think here. So I'm going to say about this love magic. So everybody's like joking. They're talking about this one woman's two boyfriends and this man being gay, and now he wants to get married and have his first woman that, you know, he puts his D in. I say, well, I'm making this video. I am saying what they said in the car. I have heard this speech before. It's just I hadn't heard it from them before. I have heard plenty of this type of speech before. Anyways, it doesn't offend me. But then they were saying, oh, he wants to get married now, and the first woman that he's with. Okay, so they were saying that, and then he offered to get me the drink, and then he sat next to me, and I could feel the love magic. It was just a little bit. But I know what it is. So this is probably the normal amount they use, but the last time it was ramped up, and I saw like the witches and warlocks in there going up and down, spying on me. Like, it's so funny. This time it was just the one man, so it wasn't very strong. But you know, that's why maybe like I'll grow on them and they'll like me and then not want to get me. Because it's also possible the spirits are doing this, but they themselves don't really know what's going on. I don't know. Because how could everybody be a witch or warlock? I don't know. I think some of these are normal people and they just have spirits. But the drink was really good and it was still fun, and he was being nice, and the other people in the car were nice. And the one woman I could tell, like, and she said, "Oh, I'm a psychopath." I'm like, just as we went into this meeting, or you know, like, say what you are. I said a psychopath. I said that position's full. It was something about say what you are, and they thought it was funny, but yeah, it is full. It's like yeah, there's so many of them. Like, yep. You know, we don't need more. But she seemed nice to talk to. So, maybe as long as you're not the victim, I probably am. But, you know, that's the thing. I already thought I was the victim. But actually, we were talking and stuff. So maybe this will flip. Because maybe they were trying to get me, and maybe, like, we'll just get along, and then that will stop. I have no idea. Because it was kind of fun to hang out with them. And then they, like, squished me, and they're like, you got in the middle because you're so little. I thought I was the same size as this other woman. I can't tell. It looks like it to me. But they thought I was little. So you get it in the middle and squish. And then, so I don't care. I don't. But, yeah, it was interesting because I am by myself. I don't get to talk to many people, you know. I gotta, like, learn how to. Actually, I have been learning how to talk to people and deal with people. But I'm perfectly fine to be alone as long. If my situation was better, like, I don't need to have friends. But in a way, it was nice to just be around other people, even though they're trying to get. Maybe they're trying to get me. Maybe the spirits in them are trying to get me, and they're not. But I'm sure that it's like a trap, but then it might backfire and ultimately help me. I have no idea. I don't know. How can I say anything? I don't know. Because God showed me bad intention, but then, like, you know, maybe that'll change. Who knows? Who knows? Anyways, so, where's my, excuse me. So much happened, so by the time all these meetings were over, so we got pizza, then a smoothie, a candy cane, and it was time for dinner. The dinner was good, and I got some to bring home, and then it was time for dinner at the soup kitchen, and I just went, like, he dropped the other two women off, and I just went with him, I was sitting in the front. I'm like, oh, thanks. And then he had a card, and he said, I got a card. And, like, there was name tags on his dash. People would put their name on and put it on there. He said, I got here, and I got some here if you want to do it. And then I took it, I put my name on it, and I put it on there. And I said, as long as it's not a collection of souls. I was teasing, but you never know. Maybe. And he said, souls of people that go to heaven. And I said, I think heaven's coming down to earth. And he said, I think so too. I think God's not done here yet. So that's what I mean. Like, it looked like he didn't like me, but then, like, he's being nice and, like, saying things like this. I don't know. I can't even tell. So what I'm thinking is maybe if he was sent to get me and then we actually are getting along and could be friends. But don't get my hopes up. It's never happened so far. It's not happened yet. But I put my name on the card and went in and like got the food. And the bike man was there too. The bike man was telling me how there's only 4 people in the world that can do, like, he's got superpowers and, like, things he can do. I asked for proof. He said he wasn't allowed to do. It was kind of funny. And he's got, like, ADHD, they mess with his mind to suppress him. And anyways, I said, so you still able to fix my bike? I said I could walk, I could come by today. And then he, like, had to back out of that. And, like, oh, it's cold, I don't have any heat there. But, like, he talked to me a long time. And basically how they spy on him. I'm like, who's like, they're watching him and they're suppressing him. I'm like, who's they? And he said, well, like, they're good people. He said he's told he worked for Jesus. And so you remember a Christ army? Cause this guy knows some things. He knows some things that others don't. Now, normally in this case it's an enemy, but this guy, I don't know. I thought maybe he was good. He mentioned, like, he said he was told he worked for Jesus. I'm like, oh, okay. I'm not laughing about this, but I'm not going to just believe stuff. I'm like, so I need some proof for that. Test of spirits. I need some proof that you can, said, like, blow stuff up, like, with this chi energy. Okay, so you got to show me that. You can heal. Okay, let me see. He said, but you can't fix my bike. You can't fix my bike. So you need a wrench. Anyways, but we were talking a long time, and how they spy on him and do stuff, and I'm like, yeah, they sent you to watch me. I said, they sent you to watch me. I'm the target. He said, no, I'm targeted. They've been trying to kill me for 8 years. I said, no, they sent you to spy on me, to get information on me. It's like, no. I'm like, and then he was trying to walk away and kind of not hear what I said. And I said, I went to sign up for the National Guard. And then they had people following me and spying on me after that for, like, weeks. And then you said you think the military did this to you. The military was spying on me and following you. So they sent you. I am the target. He's telling me he's got superpowers. And actually, like, I wouldn't be surprised if he did. I really wouldn't be surprised if he did. But, like, either he's full of shit or he has superpowers. Either one is equally surprising to me at this point in my life. But he was not able to fix my bike today. But it's like he had to go and ask. Like, he said, I'll be back, and then he went and sat down. He probably was checking with the CIA or something. I don't know what group, his military, to see if he was allowed to fix my bike or not. And then they said, no, you're not allowed to fix it today. Okay. So he couldn't fix it today. This is what happens. They're all controlled. It's not like, oh, hey, I like your bike. I've got the same one. Or I've got the same brand, a different model. No, this is not homegrown. They're sent. Either God sends them or the devil sends them, and God controls the devil. So, I'm not stupid. So I said, yeah, so the enemy is sending you to spy on me. He's like, no, I don't. Yeah, whether you know it or not. And then I told him about, I went to sign up, and then they're spying on me. I said, I am the target. I am the target. I said, and then he said, I can do this and that, and, they suppress my brain so I can't do more, and he'll get in trouble if he like, blows, like, trees up or something. And I said, but here you are talking to me. I said, I'm the target. I'm the target. And then he tries to walk away like he doesn't hear. He understood what I was saying. But anyways, I wouldn't be surprised if he was a chosen one. He's either a chosen one or he's an enemy. a chosen one or an enemy, because he didn't just show up on his own. Um, there's a plan in place here. So someone is involved with him being there and approaching me about my bicycle. And then my bicycle being sabotaged at that same time, too. It's a plan. So I don't know if this... He said there's bad guys that are good. Like the bad guys in the good groups that do this, like MK Ultra on him or something. Anyways, so we talked a bit. I got the food. I got some leftovers. And actually the mama cat has a different name. And I asked if she had a to-go container, and she was mad. And she's like, guys, gotta start bringing your own containers in. And then she found something and handed me a Cool-Whip container. I put my leftovers in it, and I'm like, thank you. Yeah, maybe I'll reuse that Cool-Whip container. Because I can't use my sink now. I mean, I could, but I'm not going to. Because there's a bunch of mouse poop all over it. It just falls down. It falls from my ceiling into my sink and on my sink handles. Just mouse poop just falls down onto my kitchen sink. Okay, so no, I'm not using my sink. And then mice, okay, all of these cabinets got dirty. And then mice got into my cabinets. And I think mice got into my dishes. So no, I can't bring a container. This is what the devil has done to me. It's like the most unreasonable, like improbable thing. Like it seems absolutely impossible for every single thing to get contaminated when it was clean and it was usable. That's what the devil does to me. Okay. Anyway, so she wasn't happy about that, gave it to me, and so I probably won't ask again, I guess. But I got it this time. The Bible verse, I didn't hear the sermon, and so I missed the lunch because I went to the recovery meeting lunch. The Bible verse was Jeremiah 31:33. You add those numbers up, equals 10, which is completion, I think. Something like, I will put my law in their minds and write it on their hearts. I will be their God. So this is about following the law. Yeah, good job. So completion. That sounds good. And then also this one woman that said she was a psychopath. She was fun to talk to. She told me of another church that gives free bikes. So maybe I'll have to call them. Because I need to get a bike soon. I can't go to the gym. I can't, it takes way longer. It takes like an hour to go to the soup kitchen instead of 15 minutes to get there. Then I don't have time, to go multiple places. I'm going to need to get a ride. It's just not having enough time to do what I need to do. And then now if they want me to go to this church. So it's not over yet? No, it's not over yet. Because, also when it was, I stayed, because the man, the long blonde hair man, said when he brought me to the soup kitchen, he said, I could probably take you home. And so then I kind of waited around, and I was talking to the bike man, and then they were closing. And so then I waited, and then he did take me home. And then the mama cat was there, and I didn't know she was going to be there too. So I think that they were trying to see where I lived or something. They've been all of them have been trying to pick me up at my house and drop me off at my house. All of them. Well, guess what? I just gave one of them my address yesterday. I just did. I did. My house is protected. I had to sign up for this bicycle charity. They had to have my address. And so I gave it to the man who I know did something naughty to me, okay? I'm not like anything, just cursed me with something, okay? He cursed me so that I had to walk an extra hour to go get my bike key and come back, and my bag was left. That's what they will do. So anyways, I know that, he seemed like a good man that does a bad thing. And I think God is showing me the way things work and the way that things happen through this man is that he wanted to do good and that he was jealous of a prophet's anointing and then tried to do just as much, but his wasn't divinely inspired, so it was misused later. Even though he has a good message and overall was helping people, then later it's misused because it's not divinely inspired. Anyways, what am I even talking about? Yeah, so then he said he could take me home. I thought it would just be him. No, it was him and Mama Cat. And Mama Cat was under the spell. Because she was kind of mad and didn't want to give me the container. And then she was sitting in the front seat right next to this man. So the man with the long blonde hair. Okay, and then he was in the driver's seat. Mama Cat was next to him. And Mama Cat was kind of grumpy with me and didn't want to give me a to-go container. She used to grab it and be real nice and sweet. So, but anyway, she was in the car, and I didn't realize she was going to be there. But I'm not surprised. Like, this is just what the Kingdom of Darkness does. But actually, like, he was giving a lot of people rides, and so that was nice. And she was in the front. She said, "I'm the mean one." It's funny because I didn't think she was. I thought she was the nice one. But but like she's been under a spell a lot recently. I can see like the way she looks. It's like kind of robotic. She's been under a spell. But they were gonna drop me off at my house and probably see my house, and then like they can see where I live. Then they can come and cast spells on my house. I don't know why they want to know, because my house has a fortress symbol on it. I thought it was a king's crown on my house, but actually on Google Maps there's a fortress tower. Like on a castle, you have the tower with the turrets where you can shoot arrows through, but then they can't attack you. So that is a symbol that is on my house on Google Maps. And so I thought, like, they can't attack me anyways. My house, like, this is a sign that my house is divinely protected. I can fire shots, but then I'm protected. They can't attack me in my house unless I let them in, which is like I let Paul of Tarsus in, and then he attacked from within. He brought infiltrators. He brought traitors to infiltrate my home and sabotage from within. So that's what he did. And anyone I allow in that has spirits, they come and they sabotage from within. So I'm not allowed to let people in. They did not come in, but now they've seen my house. They already had my address. So as long as I don't invite them in my house, I don't think they're allowed to do anything. Plus, my house has already been attacked. So at this point, like, it's restoration season. So maybe they will see. I have a huge house. I told them, I said, it's a beautiful house, but, you know, roof and the plumbing stuff, like, you know, has been destroyed. So it's a beautiful house, but, you know, it's got problems. And so they could probably, like, pull up and they'll see, this is a huge house, like a huge house. They pull up, you can see, it looks very shabby. My house looks very shabby. It was getting dark, but there was still a little bit of light left. In the side of my house, it's 2 different colors, and the paint's chipping off. So the house was like white, but that's chipping off, and you can see like the gray primer under. And then the bottom half of it is like brown. So they started to paint it and didn't finish. So it's like brown on the bottom and then white on the top, which is chipping off to reveal the primer. In the front, it's just shabby and chippy looking. And it just and then you know, obviously the concrete steps are kind of like there's cracks and there's pieces missing, and it's beautiful, but it's very shabby. So I don't know. They're either going to be jealous of this and hate me more, or they're going to look at it and be like, yeah, that's pretty shabby. It makes sense. They're either going to be like, oh yeah, I understand why she's eating the soup kitchen, or they're going to be jealous that I have such a cool house and then want to get me more. I don't know. But like, if you look at my house, it's very shabby. I would say it's one of the shabbiest houses on this street, but it's a gorgeous house. It's huge. Not huge. I've got a huge house. Okay, it says it's less than 1,500 square feet, but it's probably more than that because it had an addition put between the garage and the house, so it actually could be more than that. It has an attic too. That doesn't count because it's not finished. And like, there's this tiny little square to get into the attic. I might be able to squeeze through, but I think there's probably like raccoons and stuff up there, so I don't want to go up there. It's like dirty, I'm sure. But you can't get in the attic. Attic is unfinished. Like, to go into the attic, I would need to cut like into my closet ceiling to have an opening big enough to actually fit in there. Because like, I might be able to fit through, but most people, like, I think a lot of men would not be able to fit through there. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they could like contort themselves and squish through, but I'm sure it's dirty up there. So you know, it's a nice house, but it looks very shabby. The paint's chipping off, like, you know, the porch has got problems, the steps have got problems, like, you know, you can just look at it and see it looks shabby, but it also looks beautiful. So I really don't know. Are they going to be jealous and hate me more, or are they going to look at it and be like, oh, I understand why she comes to the soup kitchen? I don't know. I guess I'm going to find out. Anyways, they dropped me off. I said hi to my dogs, visited with my dogs for like 10 minutes or so. Then I checked my text messages to see if the missionaries, because I texted them last night to say, oh my gosh, like, my bike, I don't know if I can make it to the meeting because my bike tire got flattened. Like my bike, it doesn't work now. And then I sent that text, and then I was gone all day. So now I don't have a cell phone. So then when I got home, I checked, and I think they had responded like, oh, it's okay, we can, reschedule to another day if you want or something. And so then I tried to call, and it went to a voicemail. Then I thought about it, and then I read the text. Then I called him again, and this time it went through. And I said, actually, I think I can walk there. It'll take me probably, I said, this Google Maps thing's wrong. It'll probably take like an hour or so to walk there. I could walk there, and I can meet you there, so just don't leave. Just wanted to make sure I get a hold of them. Because when I start walking, I don't have a cell phone. So, and then so it's going to be pretty late when you leave, or we can reschedule another time. And she said, there's not going to be a better time. We can reschedule for a better time. I said, there's not going to be a better time. I don't think there's a better time. I don't know when I'm going to get a bike. I don't know when I'm going to get my bike fixed. Like, I find that I make my appointment, or they set an appointment, I need to go then. And if I don't, I fail my mission. So then I realized, the bike man was not helping me out. The bike man wasn't fixing my bike. And I had to walk. So I got a ride. So this is a cool thing. I got driven around. So I did have to walk to the meeting. I walked a little bit more than a mile to that. Then I got driven around in a car. I won $5. I got I got a smoothie. I got pizza. They took me to dinner. I got leftovers. Bike man was not able to help me. I got dropped off at my house. And then I have to walk a couple miles. It's a little more than 2 miles from my house. So it would have been another mile and a half to go straight from the soup kitchen. But, then I talked to him, you know what, I'm going to walk. And yeah, it was less than 20 degrees. And then I start walking. And then I get to a point, and then the lights are going, and there's a railroad crossing. And then there's like a train there, and it's just stopped. And I stand there for like 15 minutes. And the train's not going anywhere. And there's an overpass, but it's like I have to go many blocks down and like backtrack. It'd probably take me like an extra half hour to go there, to go around this. And then to get on the overpass, it doesn't have a sidewalk. So, and then I see a car pull in. There's like a parking lot for this factory that's really close to where I was standing. And I see a couple cars come in, and then I kind of go over there and I catch them, and then a woman comes out and I'm like, hey, do you mind if I ask you a question? I said, do you know how long this train is going to be there? Do you know how long this train is going to be there? And she's like, basically, they're allowed to block that road because there's an overpass. But there's not a sidewalk on the overpass. Like, people go 45 miles per hour on that overpass. There's no sidewalk. You should not walk on that. So I would have to, like, walk, like, a mile this way to go around it or something. Like, this is ridiculous. And she offered, and I was just standing, I was like, maybe I should wait it out. And she said she'd go ask, and she comes back. And then a couple minutes pass, and I'm just waiting to see if the train will eventually leave. And then she comes out and she said, you want to ride around it? And I'm like, oh, thank you. This woman was so sweet. It turns out she's a mom. And she drove me. And I said, I just need to get around this train and I can walk the rest. And she said, where are you going? And I said, well, you don't have to take me all the way. And I said, but I am going to this church. I had a meeting at this church. And she drove me all the way to the church and dropped me off. It was so, so kind. And of course, no one's there. It's closed. The meeting is at 7:30 at night. The meeting is at 7:30 at night. And then I get there and I'm like, thank you so much. And then actually her daughter calls while she's in the car. And then she's going to pick up some pizza for her daughter and stuff. And pick her daughter up. And like, that was just so nice. It was so nice. It said her name is Elizabeth. Elizabeth has helped me. Elizabeth offered me a ride freely and was so helpful. Went out of her way to do this. And then even when she dropped me off, then I was like a half hour early. So then I went to this door. It was locked and no one was there. Then I walked all the way around. This is a pretty big building. Went to the other side. That door is locked. And the other door, that's closed. And then she was still in her car waiting. She waited to make sure I would get inside. Like, that's how compassionate this was, a good woman. And then, and then I see her car there. Like, she kind of followed me to the other side, then stopped. And then I went up to the window, and she's like, "You want to wait here, or like to make sure I got in?" And I said, "Yeah, actually, my appointment is I'm early right now, so I think I'll be okay. They just aren't here yet." And I said, "Thank you so much." And like we'll probably maybe we'll see each other again one day. Anyways, like she was just so nice. And then I said, "Oh, I'm just early for my appointment. They're going to show up and meet me here." Um, and then she did leave. And then a couple minutes later, then there they were. They showed up. They showed up early. And I was surprised. Like this nice van pulls, and I see it pulling in. Like right after the woman leaves, she really waited to make sure I would get in. And then I went and I said, "Oh, I'm just early. They'll be here." And then she left, and she was just so kind. Her name was Elizabeth. But anyways, after she left, like probably within the minute, then this van pulls in and parks, and that's the missionaries. Then four men, they're young. They're like teenagers or young 20s or something. They're young. But then this van pulls up, and there's four of them come out. And then, like, I come around the other side, and it's just me. I'm, like, barely 5 foot. These are, some of them are quite tall, like maybe 6.5 foot tall or something. Anyways, I don't know. Maybe I'm just completely deluded, and I have no idea. But they seem quite tall. And anyways, there's four of them. They come out of their van, and then there's just me walking in the dark alone. Like, nothing, no car. It's dark. This is kind of neat. And they're like, "Hello," and they were so glad to see me, and they were so polite. They were so polite. But anyways, I didn't know what the tour would be, if they were going to show me around the facilities, and so I come in, and then they said, "Two of us are going to go this way. There's another meeting going on for like Spanish or something, and they're going to do that, and we're going to go this way." I'm like, "Okay." And then we go over to the side, and then they sit down in the two chairs, and there was a couch across from that, so they wanted me to sit. I sit there, and then like they talk a little bit. I didn't really know what this was. Like, they actually didn't tell me much information, honestly. I think that this is like they do this to ease people in because they have another book. They have another religion. So I think I know the reason they do all of this. Okay. Okay, here's my... Okay, I'm done with this one here. I still got some stuff on here that didn't happen yet. So, I think this is the reason why they have these meetings. This right here. And I read a little bit of it. And it all seems like stuff I've already read before, honestly. But there's a lot I didn't get to yet. And so far, this is the thing, so far what they've told me actually seems to be true. So far what they've said, but then they're kind of, one of them was holding back, not wanting, because I asked, like, "What's this temple thing? What's this temple thing?" And we'll get into that later. We can do that later. And one of them said that, and it's like, here's what the problem is. No, they don't believe in the Trinity. The Trinity is a lie. This is great. They're all about repentance. This is great. And following the law. You gotta believe and follow and repent. Like, yes, good. And I even mentioned. So, anyways, they were talking to me a lot, and it was like I wanted to not show up and waste this time. I wanted to make use of this. If this is a mission from God, they tried to stop me from going to this mission. I believe possibly if those items I got yesterday were cursed on me, that my bike was going to have a flat tire no matter what. But after I took the gift basket, it happened the next day. So I find this to be no coincidence. There are no coincidences. Okay, it was on borrowed time. The bike tire was already cursed, but it was right after I took that Merry Christmas basket that my tire was flattened. Might be related. Or not. But it probably is. Anyways, they were also trying to stop me from going to this meeting. A meeting with these young men. There was two of them. So one was the very tall blonde man who was... he looked young, but I could tell he was a good person. Like, you could look at the countenance and you could just see, this is a good person. And the other man was just like normal. So one of them you could tell was like good-hearted, okay, and the other was just a normal young man. And I'm not trying to bash anyone. I'm trying, because we can all change. We can all change at any time. And he wasn't bad either. I'm saying is, I saw somebody that was like, it's not very often you see somebody that is just a really good person. It's kind of rare. That's what I'm saying. So, but this one young man is kind of funny. He's like really tall. But but he just is like just real like polite and stuff, and just seems like a good person. The other guy, he seems nice too, but it's not. It's like more like he's normal. And he mentioned he was like into football and stuff. Like not a lot, just mentioned it, and just more like a regular, like just regular person. And but he was also trying not to mention that was the one. Guess which one didn't want to get into temple yet? Because they knew. Because I'm thinking this is where the problem is. It's probably like, oh, we want to do this, and like it could be good, it could help people, but it can't be a tenet of your faith. You can't attribute this to God. You can just say we choose to do this because we think it helps. You could say that, but not. This isn't from God. God didn't tell us to do this. They say God told him to do that. Probably. Anyways, and they're talking about how there's prophets, and this man was a prophet, and he was supposed to see Jesus. Well, maybe he did. And then we all prayed. They actually, at the end, this wanted to pray together, and they prayed that God would show me if this was true or not, if this was from the Lord or not. And then I was glad to hear that, because I wanted to pray the same thing. So we all prayed. Like when people ask to pray for me, then I pray with them, and I change the words as we go to things that I think are important or things I disagree with. I'll change. So if people are like, let's pray, and actually a lot of their prayer, like I just prayed what they said because I agreed with it, and they were like, and to show her whether this is from God or not, they prayed this. That's a good sign. And actually what I did read, they said this is an important book, and then I read, and this is all stuff I had heard before, and it was like Jesus telling people to repent for their sins, and that there's no Trinity. Repent for your sins. There was even something in here that's in the Quran. Like a verse from the Quran was in here. I mean, I'm just saying, like, so far, what I did look at in here seems legitimate. It actually does. But I haven't read. I just skimmed through a little bit because they lead in and they mention, and I'm like, so then they're sitting there and I'm sitting there, and then there wasn't really, like, we weren't really talking about much yet. I didn't want to waste this time. God sent me here for a reason. And they invited me for a reason. So I'm going to, no matter what, I'm going to make sure if I'm supposed to do something, I'm supposed to say something, I'm going to say it. So I just say a bunch of stuff. Then we're just kind of sitting there, and it's kind of awkward and like a little bit at first, and they don't really know where to start to it. Like they're talking, like, for their age, they're very knowledgeable. But I'm just saying, like, I thought it was going to be like a tour, and they'd have it all lined up, and just talk to me and show me. But it wasn't really like that. It was just like we sat down and, then we just talked. But it was like I was more asking them questions in the beginning, especially like, and I asked them, like, you give charity, and like, who, what do you give charity to? And then I mentioned it. There's something like that we need. There's something to, if you want to know something to give charity to. I said there's only one woman's homeless shelter in all of our town. And I heard that it's so bad that people would rather sleep in a tent on the street than stay at this homeless shelter. I said, if you want to help out, I said, do you help locally? And then I mentioned this. I got that one in there. Like, after all of the homeless shelter fiasco thing I've been hearing about, I mentioned this about the homeless shelter. And so maybe, like, because these young men, if they continue with it, they're going to be leadership in the future. Okay? The one guy who, the real tall one, he was like 19 years old. And then I even asked him, are you going to be future? And are you going to be future leadership? And he said, oh, yeah, I hope, yeah, maybe it just, if God calls me to. I'm like, yeah, that's good. Because he seemed like his heart was in the right place, And then I mentioned, like, if there's something you need to donate to, I said, there's only one woman's homeless shelter, and it's just so bad that people are sleeping on tents in the street instead of going there. So I told him about that, and this just came up at the soup kitchen. So this is a good opportunity if it's a big group and they have money coming in, because they spend a lot of money on being missionaries and going to different countries to tell people about Jesus Christ, and that is good. But there's also people that need help right where we live in our own town. And then I told them that, and they said, well, um, is that your situation? I said, no, I got a house. My house was destroyed, but it's like you almost need to be in this situation to know what the problem is. Like, you have to be in this situation to know what this problem is. It's like, God put me where I am. I wouldn't know what these people think, what they need, if I wasn't put down there with them. So that's why God sent me, like, and put me right. I'm not going to say I don't know. This is one reason. This is one reason God has me where I am, talking to the people I am, to find out this is a problem they have. This is something they need. It's not available. And then I'll go to the church and I ask them, like, what charities do you donate to? And they say they don't really know too much, and there's someone else they could ask. And so if there's something you need to donate to, I mentioned that there's only one woman's homeless shelter. It's like, this just came up. It's a good opportunity. And so if this man goes into leadership in the future, he can think about it. They need homeless shelters. They need better ones. I'm not really sure because I haven't been, but every single person told me they were horrible. So obviously they could be improved, and there could be more of them. And they don't need to charge you 50 cents. It's like, it's not enough money to pay somebody's salary for 1 hour. But it will keep people from spending the night and taking a shower. So I was just asking them questions. Like, it's like they came, they met me there, so I didn't want to waste their time. So I was asking, like, because there wasn't really necessarily something to talk about right at that moment. So I was just asking them questions and, like, just all types of things. And then, I was kind of waiting to hear what they would tell me, but it's almost like they didn't know what to talk about. So I asked them at first, and then it finally got to the point, and God has a prophets, and that's sent a prophet to the Americas, and here's our prophet, and there's a book, and I said, yes, there's more, and I said, and it said something you believe that's controversial or other people don't believe. They said, we don't believe in a Trinity. I said, that's right, there's no Trinity. And they said, the prophets have been sent more, like, there's the Bible, but we believe other prophets have been sent. I said, yes, that's true. Yes, that's true. And then, like, it's like, I hear a lot of what you're saying. I agree with it. I said, I like how all of your members can stand up and speak. And all of your members can pray, and and they volunteer. It's like, that's. They did mention the tithing. They believe everybody gives their 10% to the church. Okay, but I don't need to get into that now. It's not my place right now. I mean, if they're actually using the money to help people and people can afford to pay it, then that's their choice. I mean, they can't, like, hold a gun to your head and make you donate to them. But it's like, this is our general guideline if you can't afford to do so. With the price of food going up, some people can't. I'm just going to say. Anyways, it was all leading up to this little goodie here. And I said, well, what's controversial in this? And so they said, well, here's the important part. And then they sent me to this book, Nephi or something. It's a book of law. And then they said, you read this one here. This is an important one. I start reading through it. I'm just skimming it as they're talking a little bit. And I said, I've heard this before. I've heard this before. Yep. Okay. And then they mentioned other people say, So, they said, well, you can text us with any questions and stuff. And I said, I don't, I agree with a lot of this. I don't really see any problem. But I'm sure eventually, I'm sure later down the road there will be, that I could text them if I have a question or a problem or something. So, great. I have their text number, and now I have this book. So I'm going to read this book, and then I will be getting back to them. Anyways, one thing I asked, so I didn't forget, I wrote some things down. I asked both of them, like, have any of you had a spiritual experience where, like, you notice, like, if you had a personal experience where, like, God spoke to you, or that you had something spiritual happen. I don't remember exactly what I said. Something like that I asked him. And so the one young man who was really tall, he seemed like a good person. And he was like, well, yeah, actually there's something I don't really tell people. And he said, it was like, he was asking these questions or something, and then right about that time he heard a voice like behind him, like a voice tell him something, and I don't really remember what he might not have he might not have said what it told him. Oh yeah, he did. He was asking for like guidance or help or something, and then a voice came from behind him and spoke to him, and basically told him that this person was sent for him to learn from, but then they didn't like each other, and it wasn't until after they left that they liked each other. But he was, and then I could tell he was like emotionally affected mentioning this. And he said, I know it sounds crazy and this and like, I'm just hearing things, and I was like, no, that's how like the way God speaks to us is like, like just through voice or visions or. Send as an angel in a human body. I said, that sounds like an angel. And I can see that you believe it. It sounds like an angel spoke to you. So I think this is a good thing because it's like what he said is it sounds like he's mentioned this to a couple people and they said, oh, that's crazy. You just heard something in your head. Based on what he said, that's probably the reaction he got. And these could be narcissists. They could be people with evil spirits. And they want him to doubt his experience. And I said, that sounds like an angel. I said, that sounds like an angel. And telling him that. Like, it's like, no, I believe it. That sounds like an angel was talking to you. So that was good. And then the other man, so I asked both of them if they had an experience. And the other man, who was like a normal man, then he looked like he didn't have anything. he didn't have an experience. Well, guess, like, we have our whole life. Like in the Quran saying how every person, they get that moment in their life. Every person, like, God, knows us, like, takes special care in all of our lives. Each person will be shown the truth and be given a choice at one point in their life. I don't remember the exact wordage, but, like, we will have, like, some type of interaction with the divine. Every single person will have that in their life. No one will go wondering if God is real. Everybody will have something spiritual happen to them that will prove to them that God is real. So possibly this was that one young man. So he was only 19 years old. I said I didn't know how old he was the other day. The other one, he's like, he didn't go like this, but you know what I'm saying. Like, he was like, he looked kind of more like that. Like he didn't have anything. Well, he's got his whole life. If he's like 20 something, if he's 22 or something, he's got his whole life to have a spiritual experience from the Lord. So he's not left out. That's actually very young to have an experience. I did have an experience. I actually had, I think, a few. But they weren't like God talking to me. Like, I don't... Like, God shows me things. God shows me spirits. God puts me through trials and lets me hear things. But God doesn't speak to me with a voice. Actually, Archangel Michael was sent to me. Yeah, Archangel Michael said one word to me. Yeah, I had some experiences. I didn't say any of my experiences at this. It wasn't appropriate. Like what we talked about was more important. So my life and stuff like that, not important. That is not important. There was a mission in talking to these young men who might grow up and they might be leaders in their community. And God had me tell them about pork. I actually looked on, before I left this morning, I knew pork is probably going to come up. And I don't know if I'm going to have a chance, because I'm going to be gone most of the day. I don't know if I'm going to have a chance. I'm not going to bring my Bible. I don't want to have to carry it. It's going to be heavy. I don't want it to get ruined. So I just looked it up for like 1 minute or less than a minute. I don't know. This morning, before I walked to the recovery meeting, and it's a good thing I did because I used it today. And when I mentioned about the pork, okay, so I mentioned about, and I said, you want to know something that God told me that nobody wants to hear, no one likes it? I said, because basically, I don't know, was it Joseph Smith or something, their leader, like, and God told him he doesn't fit in any church, none of the churches are guided rightly, and so he made his own. And so, and then I mentioned this too, like, because it's true. I didn't say it because they said it, but like, you know, and God sends me places and has me tell him not to eat pork, and then nobody likes this, and I'm not going to be accepted anywhere. I'm not going to be accepted because God has me go places and tell people we're not supposed to eat pork, and no one wants to hear it. So I mentioned this. They said this church is supposed to represent Jesus Christ and bring restoration. And it's like they were saying everything that I want to hear. Like, and they're telling me, like, yeah, that sounds great. And then I mentioned the pork. First meeting, they didn't serve me any pork. There was only cookies. They didn't serve me any pork. I just met them. But I said, you know, something that God told me. And then they did not shut off. They weren't like, ugh, no. The one man was very receptive. And he was very respectful. And I actually was listening to what I said. And they said, God told me that we're not allowed to eat pork. And then he, like, defended pork a little bit. But not very much. So that's what I'm saying. He defended it a little bit. He said, yeah, but like, so, and he sounded kind of wishy-washy. Like, he wasn't really solid in his argument. So, like, he didn't really, like, this is just probably what he was told, and he didn't really know too much about it. That's what I think. He's very young. So he did a great job. But, he's like, you know, but, like the words that come out of our mouth are important and not what goes in. So it was this verse, and and I said, well, and I told him, like, well, the reason, you want to know why we can't, and I told him because Jesus allowed the evil spirits to possess the pigs, and the people eat these. Then he said the thing about, like, from the epistles of Paul, but he kind of said it, he didn't know it verbatim, and he kind of said it, and he was a little iffy about it when he was saying it. And I said, yeah, but, and I said, well, that actually is the epistles of Paul, and it's a false doctrine. I said, that's the same thing where they talk about the blood sacrifice. They don't believe in the blood sacrifice, because I asked him earlier, I said, do you believe, I said, some churches, they believe in, like, a blood sacrifice, in that you don't have to follow the law. I said, what do you think of that? And they said, well, I think that some things are maybe misinterpreted or misused. That's what they said, because their book is all about repentance. And I said, because that contradicts your teaching. And they said, we think that some things are mistranslated or maybe misused. And so then this came up, and I mentioned the pork, and then he used, and I said, oh, and this is in the same book where they talk about blood sacrifice, in the epistles of Paul. I said, this is a false doctrine, and it was really talking about high class versus low class food. But I said, it's really, you know, this is a door for demons to be possessing people, and it's really causing a lot of problems today. It's causing a lot of problems, and Jesus didn't eat pork. And I prayed to God, like, you know, inspire me what to say. Like, God, inspire me what to say. God, inspire me what to say. So when I pray, God, inspire me what to say, and I say this, I was already thinking this. But if I pray for God to use me, then I would not be saying a lie. I'm just saying, like, I pray for God to use me, then I felt comfortable saying this. I felt like it was appropriate. It was my words, it was my thinking, but I felt comfortable, and I felt this was appropriate to say at the time. The young man received it. They didn't reject it. They were very receptive. And I said, Jesus didn't eat pork. I didn't say it like that. I said, I'm just being real polite and talking calm. And I said, Jesus, because they're about, like, trying to live like Jesus as their example, to try to live like him and to repent. Good. And they don't believe in the Trinity, and they don't believe in blood sacrifice. Yes. So, like, all of that was right. And I said, agree with a lot of this. A lot of stuff's right. But what do you think about pork? And then I didn't ask, what do you think? And I said, well, God told me that we're not allowed to eat. And I said, that's the thing, is that God sends me to the different churches and has me tell people we're not allowed to eat pork. And nobody wants, and nobody, he said, nobody will, you know, receive me because no one wants to hear this. And, you know, and I mentioned, and Jesus didn't eat pork. Jesus didn't eat pork. You know, I would feel wrong in my soul and spirit if I was speaking a lie, as I asked God to guide me, to, you know, to inspire me what to say. And so I already believed this, but I felt it was right to say it then. So, you know, it must be true. But actually, the way they received it, and then he mentioned we're big on repentance and just coming every week, and, like, it's not even repenting for something that you just did, but just, I think it's more to remind you keep it on your mind so that you keep living in a godly way. So, I mean, maybe that's more. And then he's like, and it's like, and I'm not, and nobody's perfect, and I'm not perfect, and I'm still, and so how old are you? He's like 19. I'm like, that's young. I'm like, oh, that's young. And said, but I think, and this is another thing that I mentioned. I got some more stuff because I think maybe there's knowledge that God has given me, and I just put a little bit in there, and maybe it'll just help him, like, as if he continues in this, maybe it'll help him, inspire him or something, because this knowledge, God gave me the knowledge, but like, I said, but when you're 40, I think you can choose not to sin. When you're 40, you reach the age of maturity, you can choose not to sin. So with 19, it's like, it's not surprising you sin when you're 19. I said, oh, that's young. but when you're 40, you can choose not to sin. But it just went well. They were so polite, and they listened to what I had to say. And the only thing was, he was like a little bit about like the poor, but he wasn't like adamant about it. It's like, he was trying to defend it, but he still wasn't exactly sure. Like, there was something he remembered, but I could tell that it wasn't like a really strong thing that he believed in. And he heard it and he listened to it. So I'm not asking them to change this whole church, but maybe if there was like some event where they would have breakfast sausage or bacon, then they could just choose not to, and put fruit instead or something. You know what I mean? Just start to make changes, because this is causing a lot of problems. It's causing a lot of problems today. But it went well, and then I said, I don't know with my bike and stuff, but I'll try to come back this weekend, and maybe I said, I just don't know if I have time to walk here, but maybe I'll get a bike in time. If not, then it's up to God if I get a bike in time to go back. It went well. So I think it did go well. But then, and it was funny, it's like, I agree with a lot of this. The only thing I'm not sure about is this temple thing. Like, and then the other man who was just the normal man, and he was like, well, we can get into, we'll start with the simple stuff. We get into that later. So I think this is where the problem lies. But also, I did not read this. So I'm probably going to read this, and then I will make a video. Now, here's the thing. I could go on to Google, and I could search what Mormons believe, and I could search the Book of Mormon, and I could pull up a bunch of hate speech. I could pull up a bunch of things that are taken out of context. I could pull up a bunch of lies. And probably some of it's true. I don't know. I could just go and search on Google, and then I could find all types of things that would discredit this and would discredit their church and what they believe. But I'm not going to do that. Because I know a lot of that stuff is lies, and it's smear and slander. Now, some of it's true. But what I'm going to do instead is I'm just going to the church. I'm attending the service. I'm listening to what the people are saying. I'm listening to what they're telling me. I'm watching what they're doing. And I'm going to read this book myself. And maybe they won't even, it's a secret about temple. You got to be in there like a year or something, and then you got to go through the steps. Yeah. But I'm not going to go to some website that hates Mormons. Okay? I'm not going to do it. I'm just going to go myself, listen to what they tell me, see what they do, and read the book. And then that will be the truth. But I'm sure there's all different ones. So, one church is going to be different from another church. None of them are the same, but it just sounds like the temple is a little, like, if they just say this is an activity we do because we think it helps people, but it's not God's law, well, that's fine. But I have a feeling it's probably, I don't know. It's probably becoming over restrictive, like where Jesus came to abolish the law. He didn't come to abolish God's law. He came to abolish man-made law. So this is maybe, if this becomes a little too legalistic and like you're forced to do certain things, you're coerced, then maybe this, like, and it's not even to get rid of it, but maybe just to explain it in a different way to where, like, God didn't make these laws, but we think it helps people. Or maybe, like, you don't have to wait a year, like, if you can discern spirits, not everyone can. So maybe somebody that can should be involved in saying, like, this person actually spiritually is there, this one is not. Like, this person is going through the motions, this one really believes. Some of us can tell and some can't, so, you know, that, anyways, when it was all done, then I start to, like, mind if I go to the bathroom? And I go to the bathroom and I zip my coat up. It's taken, like, a long time, because I gotta take my coat off, hang it somewhere, and wash my hands, and then get it all bundled up in my bag, and then head out. Of course, it's snowing. Then I gotta put my bag inside of my coat, and I start to walk, and actually it was pretty nice. I got this nice warm coat that I can't wear on my bicycle, but I'm walking, and I thought maybe the train is there again, so I start walking the other way, and it takes me like an hour to get home, maybe more, I don't know. But I just start walking. They get in their van to leave, and I just start walking. I don't know how this looks to people. I am not afraid one bit. I'm not afraid of a single... Actually, I'm afraid of certain things. I'm afraid of, like, writing an essay, or, something I don't want to do. Well, maybe that's not fear, but just anxiety over that. Because I don't want to, It's not that it's scary, but I'm not afraid of people. Maybe I start to think about it a little bit, and then I dismiss it, and I reject it. So, I mean, maybe there's even witchcraft used in that they want you to be afraid, and then I think about it, I'm like, no, I'm not. And then I'm not afraid to walk alone. I'm not afraid to live alone. And it doesn't matter if I'm a woman. It doesn't matter if I'm a small woman. I don't care. I actually think I'm, like, tougher than most people. Like, big people. I'm tougher than most people. This is actually true. I am tougher than most people. And I really noticed, like, lately, it seems that most people are getting smaller. So I'm not getting taller, but, like, it seems like people around me are getting smaller, or they're shrinking, or just when I see new people, then they're shorter. I don't know what this is. But anyways, like, I don't know how this looks. Like, here I am, a woman. I'm alone. And I just walk and I just go. I'm here on my bike. I live alone. I'm just walking alone. I am fine. Oh, it's like, less than 20 degrees. Oh, now it's 22 degrees, but it's snowing. There's wind. Anyways, it's 20 degrees and it's snowing, and I'm just going to walk by myself, and that's fine, and I just go. I didn't ask him for a ride. I mentioned it in a way they could have offered, but they did not. And this is probably standard. And maybe this is good, because it might have made it look like I was, like, kind of not a wuss, but it would make it look like I'm less respectable if they had to pick me up. Does that make sense? Like, I didn't want it to look like that. I know how to walk. But I'm saying is, I'm not afraid to walk. I go off by myself all the time. God will protect us. God protects me. God will protect you. And if something happens, that's because it's supposed to happen. Like, if something bad happens to you, then you already played this out, like, with God in the spirit realm. Certain things you do have choice, but certain things, like, are meant to happen. So you have a life plan. There's free will in that, but certain events are supposed to happen and will happen. Unless you quit. You quit and decide to leave early. But yeah, how does it look? And then I just start walking and I go on my own. And they're all, they're much bigger than me, I'm sure. Well, the one guy wasn't too much, but, and they're leaving together in the vehicle, and it's just me on my own, and I just start walking, and I don't care. I'm not afraid. I can handle this. So I'm thinking is, like, that just looks good. Because, and I want to say I'm a feminist either, because I don't want to say I'm a feminist. Like, we're supposed to be stay-at-home moms. We're supposed to be provided for. We're spiritually equal. But I don't like the way society has represented us. So I just want to be like myself. And just being myself and having the strength God gave me, it's just like a slap in the face to what the devil portrays us. You know how, like, with the makeup, and you get your hair done, and the fake nails, and it's not that you can't do any of it, but just all together, it's so much. And then people are talking with a fake voice, they're behaving in a way, and, like, they wear their heels too. It's not that you can never do any of these things, but just all of it together, so that we have this mask on, can't be ourselves, and it makes us weak. To where you have to wear a certain outfit, you can't bend too much, you could rip it, damage it, it could get dirty, you can't run too fast in these shoes and trendy things, you mess up your hair, you can't kiss, you can't rub your eyes. Like, it just has us, like, It's like modern day foot binding. And so you spend so much time doing this that you could be learning a skill. So like I don't put on any makeup. I just like try to roll out of bed and get ready fast. It still takes me a while to usually find like a shirt or something. It does take a while. But still, I try to be really fast. And this time that I save, then I'll play with the guitar a little bit each day. And now I've gotten pretty good at that. Well, it would take me more time. Okay, the time I spent practicing the guitar, I could have used putting on makeup instead. And now I'm actually learning a skill as opposed to just wasting my time. And so I just like, just by existing and not playing into these stereotypes and the way the devil says we're supposed to live, just by existing and not being afraid, then it's bringing respect back to women. And I prayed, actually, I normally never, I just prayed this once, I think, as maybe once or twice. I am in my 40s. I had never prayed this before. But, like, within the last few weeks, and I prayed to God, like, and just hearing, like, and this is the thing about Christianity, it's awful. They say, oh, pray to the Father. That's not God's name, is not the Father. This is how it was translated, because the pagans worshipped the Father, so then it's actually opposite. They say to the Father and the Son. There's no female anywhere, even though more humans are women. This is to hurt women. So I'm saying, and then you just keep hearing this over and over again. And then all this, like, subjugating of females, and it's just hearing this, and I'm like, I prayed, God, restore our honor. Restore our glory. Restore us. Restore the women. As how we're portrayed, this is ridiculous, And then you keep hearing men lead all the time. This is the teachings of the Pharisees. God has me. This is not like, I already thought this, but no, God sends me to tell people this. This is not God's law. This is the teachings of the Pharisees that Jesus did not like. He disagreed with. God has me go out there and tell people this. So I agree with it, but I agree with it because it's true and it's unfair. God is just. God is righteous. God looks at our heart. God doesn't judge us on like how tall we are. God doesn't judge us on things like that. God doesn't judge us on what our gender is. God looks at our heart. God doesn't judge you on how many degrees you have and, if you got a mustache. I mean, this is silliness. And yet, you just constantly hear it. And it just kept hearing so much. It's just in my face, like women are weak and men lead and we have to learn how to submit. We have to learn how to submit. And it's like, I see all the devils behind this and their tricks. God showed it all to me. And it's like, okay, and I prayed, God, restore women and bring us our honor back. Restore us. Our stolen honor. Like, I don't know exactly what I said. I remember like videos and pictures, so I can't remember words. But anyways, I just prayed for God to restore us. I didn't pray for us to be better than men. I prayed for God to restore us to the truth. Because everything's a lie. Until, God's using me to do that. Just by being myself. I'm not changing myself. This is me. So, I just go out and I'm being myself. I'm not putting on makeup. I'm not, I'm trying to put stuff on that's comfortable, that I can walk in. I'm not like, I'll bike, I'll walk. I'll do it. And I can lift stuff. And it doesn't matter if I'm small. I can do. And this is the thing, women can't do what men can do. Well, we're not supposed to. But I'm saying is that God, like, uses us too as examples. Because sometimes it's weaponized against us. So, like, occasionally there's someone that's put out there as an example. Like, yes, we are spiritually equal. Don't be trying to say we're not. You need some examples. But men have been done dirty. Men have been done wrong. It's just that in Christianity, they don't include. They like erase. They erase the female, like the language. They say father and son. How does this make sense? And so when I heard this, and I'm like, God, this, I was like, this makes me mad. Fix it, God. Fix it. So then God sends me out. And actually people are listening. And they have the men in leadership. But then they see me and they recognize the Holy Spirit. Just like there's another woman there speaking about the Holy Spirit. And she was holding the cup up. And it was a great presentation. I hadn't seen that before. And this was a good woman. I could tell this made a lot of sense. And it was well put together. So I saw some good things. But I'm about to be disappointed, I'm sure. I mean, read all of this. This might be fine, actually. They might be fine. Because, you know, the way they lie about the Quran, like the way the internet lies about the Quran, when I can disprove everything, they've probably done the same thing to this. I'm just going to say. Like, I understand that God showed me the Quran was from him. And it makes perfect sense to me. But then there's a bunch of narcissists and devils that go and smear it. Okay, so they probably done the same thing to this. But I gotta read it myself to know. But anyways, you know, I walked home. It took a while, and I made it, and it was kind of fun. My dogs are tired. It is now after midnight. I just got to get up and walk to the soup kitchen tomorrow. They're going to be closed in the evening. I've got a phone call scheduled for the evening, and maybe they don't know that it's New Year's, so maybe they'll cancel. I don't know, but I'm going to be home for that. I hope I can get my bike fixed. I hope I can get my bike fixed. I don't know what to do here. Maybe I will walk to the gym. I don't know. I gotta ask someone if I can borrow their bike. They probably won't let me. They probably won't let me. Yeah, we'll see. Anyways, I would like to go to the gym, so it's gonna be closed on New Year's. So I would like to go on New Year's Eve. I was really hoping to get my bike fixed because I thought he needed it to go to this church meeting, but actually I was able to walk there. Yeah. Yeah, it sounds like what I did skim through in this was stuff I'd heard before. It was reasonable. You know, you could say what's made up. But they sat there with me and prayed with me for God to show me whether this is real or whether this is from God or not. They prayed that with me. That is a good sign. And God showed me the Quran is divinely inspired. Even, and you know how they bash that? Well, you know, maybe this is exactly the same here. I don't know. But I guess I'm going to have to find out. I think the trouble is going to come later with the temple rituals. Whatever, like, silly rules. But, you know, they're doing pretty good so far. They are way better than that Baptist church I went to. I'm not restored yet. There is 1 day left in this year to be restored. There is 1 day left. This video is almost 2 hours long. Thanks for watching. God bless you.